Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to TED Talks Ball. No, it's not TED Talks Ball. My bad. It's the I Vote TED for Pedro show with my co-host Pete D. Burge. You know, I'm on Twitter there and on YouTube as Niners DNA from Australia, land of Oz. And welcome, Pete. Great to see you. And how you doing today?
Thank you, Dad. I'm very well and good. Great to see you. Thank you very much for having me on again. I'm pumped. It's Monday Night Football. It's Tuesday down here. It's 9:02 a.m. So obviously it's the morning here, but the game starts at 11:15 or 11:20 Sydney time, which is the same as Brisbane and Canberra and Melbourne. But yeah, lots to talk about for the game today. But I think we've both got a couple of concerns. It's funny how we see eye to eye on a couple of major issues for this game, but just straight off the bat, I think we're going to win. I think Brock will bounce back, and yeah, let's get into it. Let's go.
All right, let's do that real quick. Let's just say hi to our audience members. Some folks turned out early here to get us started. Grant Schick stopped by earlier. He's a good buddy of mine from Santa Clara University. He's a great soccer player. When the Santa Clara program was great, when they were like, national champion runner-ups pretty much every year. It's funny, they had a year or two where they tied for the national championship. And they're like, hey, forget that. Let's do sudden death. And they go to sudden death, and Liz's like, well, maybe tie wasn't so bad after all. But great guy, great. I met a lot of great guys to the soccer team at Santa Clara. And Grant is one of them. So, and also a groomsman in my wedding as well too. So,
thanks, Grant. Nice.
So he's saying definitely rest CMC, and we'll get to that here in a minute. But that was the question I posed was, should the 49ers? Well, I don't know, what did I call it? I called the show, should Kyle force Christian McCaffrey to rest for the Vikings? And now, clearly, this is out of date by now because it's been decided Christian McCaffrey is going to play, and we can talk more about that in a second. Just want to say hi to Bryant Culp in the house, saying smash the like button, everyone. Everybody make sure you check out Bryant's podcast and his wife Tony's podcast too. They do great things, so make sure you like and subscribe there. We got James Durnall from across the pond, hoping not to see CMC tonight. Let's cook with the backups. If they fall on their face, bring in the running back before the deadline. Yeah, we'll get to all that. Those are some interesting points. Bryant, switching over to your channel. It's good to see. Yeah, we are simulcasting on Niners DNA and TED Talks Ball. So if you could give us a like and subscribe on both. If you're watching on a browser, you could open up the show in two different browsers. Just make sure to mute it, and that way you could check it out. In fact, that's what I'm going to do here too, to make sure to get you an extra watch. Get that going, and just make sure to mute it here. But as far as let's see. It says, is Trent going? No, Trent was doubtful. He's been officially ruled out. James, Danielle saying, "What's up, family? What's up, Danielle? Good to see you." Saying, "Hey, Ted." Thanks, Danielle. Appreciate it. San Francisco 49ers have a record of 52-29 on Mondays all time. I think that's the best winning record on Monday Night Football of all time, if I'm not mistaken.
Thank you. That's good.
Bryant also providing the 25-23-1 versus the Vikings all time. The Niners have a slim lead there. And then Kirk Cousins has a record of 2-10 on Monday nights. So let's hope we don't give him his third one.
Fantastic.
Under the bright lights, Kirk Cousins tends to wilt. But I've always said, if you protect him, man, he's a good quarterback. There's a reason why Kyle likes him. He's obviously got one arm tied behind his back, or almost 1.5 arms, by having Justin Jefferson out, who's not only the best receiver on the Vikings, but arguably the best receiver in the NFL, right up there, probably with Tyreek Hill. I mean, I don't know who else it would really be in that conversation. Maybe Devontae Adams. I don't know. It's hard because poor Devontae Adams has Jimmy G thrown to him now. So he's starting to feel the pain of that. Who would you have as your best receiver in the NFL, Pedro?
Best receiver in the NFL. It's got to be. I think it's got to be. It's either Justin Jefferson I think AJ Brown's really good. I
AJ
think
Brown is really good, especially with this 6 games of 125 yards or more in a row.
he's strong. He's big, and he can wrestle the ball back.
He's like a more polished Debo without quite as much yak, right?
That's right. Yeah, that's right. Just thinking about some other, I think there's a guy who I think is going to turn into one of the best, and that is a guy, a Chris Olave. I think he's got
from the Saints.
Yeah, big potential, but he's got a Derek Carr is not a good quarterback.
No.
And he's not on a very good team. So yeah, like Chris Olave. But the other one, I think, just to round it all off, what about Tyreek Hill?
Yeah, I mean, Tyreek's got the speed. Justin Jefferson, like they're saying, maybe the best overall. But it's kind of like potato, whatever you want to call it. They're kind of interchangeable as far as who could be the best in the NFL for sure. Seems like, but yeah, I think Tyreek has a slight edge just because of what they're doing down there in Miami. But I mean, just the one play last night, I don't know if you watched, but where they had him bracketed and he just beat them both. He's just like, sorry, bye, boom, into the end zone for a touchdown. And they showed one that Tua threw at Bama that was kind of similar, where it was funny to see Hurts coming out onto the field and congratulating Tua in a natty. And now they're playing against each other, and sure enough, Hurts got the best of him. Hurts, I guess he finished the game wearing a knee brace. I didn't realize.
Yeah, he's getting a bit banged up. I think remember. Yeah, I agree, Frank. Remember how we was always talking about? Oh my God, what about that weird super fan?
She traveled to Kansas City, so I doubt she's in Minnesota.
Right.
For the Vikings. I think that's probably did it for her. But you never know. I mean, I guess if you're in KC, it's a quick flight up to Minnesota compared to flying out there from San Diego. It's a lot further.
So I guess the point I want to make on the leg brace with Jalen Hurts is that remember last year, once Trey Lance was injured, everyone was saying, well, look at Jalen Hurts. He runs in between the tackles and all that sort of stuff. But he was so banged up last year, right? And he's protecting himself a lot more. So I think last year took a toll on Jalen in regard to the amount of, quarterback design runs that he took, any bashes that he took, that he took up in between the tackles. And you saw last night that he was very protective of himself. And so I think there's some wear and tear there. So, it does show like, and I do like, I'm trying to think of the guy that's on Twitter that was defending Kyle, who doesn't always defend Kyle. Anyway, it'll come to me later. So here we go. It's just one of those things. He's banged up after last year.
There you go. Yeah. Oh, yeah, no, there were some people posting about it. One no longer has a Twitter account. I won't go into that too much.
Well, he was doing. That's right. That's what I was going to say. That Jeff Anderson, Jack Hammer type person.
Yes.
Yeah. He was saying it as well. So
he was one of the ones banging that drum pretty steadily.
Yeah.
But now no longer with us on Twitter, and we'll see what happens with his YouTube account. But people are pretty unhappy with him, obviously. Yeah. I don't want to talk too much about it. It's negative, and he and I had our differences, but I would never wish that on anybody. No. Although if you did do it, then obviously you get what you get coming to you. Real quick, just want to call out Jason Niner Smash Massey in the house. That's Niners Faithful Radio. Make sure you check him out, his channel. Give him a like and subscribe. And then Frank Tom Ocean. Did you see? Well, first, real quick, while we're talking about safeties, James Renaud brought up Huff. He says he's expecting a pick 6 from Hufanga. I would love that. Nothing would make me happier. And
James, can I just ask James something? Yeah. James, who do you bet with, mate, over there in London? Just throw it in there and just tell me what odds you got, mate, for that pick 6. I might have we got sports bet down here. which Paddy Power bought, James. So anyway, sorry, continue.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Get them straight. Get your bets in. Get it on. So, and then speaking of safeties, Frank Tomotion, did you see that the Eagles got Byard from the Titans? I did. And I was not very happy about that. Byard is one of the better safeties in the league. And I think the Titans ate $7 of his $11 million. So, they're paying him $7 million to go play for the Eagles this year. That's a bummer. And it was a big area of need. I know they were talking to Jeremy Chin of the Panthers, or talking to the Panthers about Jeremy Chin. Maybe they asked too much. And, it's like somebody posted, like, why can't the 49ers get like a sucker organization like the Eagles have the Titans? Because now the Eagles have traded A.J. Brown, and, we were just talking about him as one of the best wide receivers in the NFL, and now one of the best safeties. Sheesh. But I guess when you're in rebuild mode, you're in rebuild mode.
That's right.
Rand Carthon over there is their GM came from San Francisco. So
yeah,
from the Niners. Donald says, I hear CMC is playing. That's what I heard too. And I still need to get my article out here. I guess after we get done today, I'll add. I was a little light on the article, and so I need to add a little bit, a paragraph or two to it, and then Grant should put it out. But my
Should
article.
We get into that?
The title of it was "To CMC or Not to CMC."
Well,
tonight versus the Vikings.
Yeah.
And in the article, I was saying I don't think we should play CMC. And even now that I know it, I still don't think we should play him. Maybe, someone else had a kind of a funny thing. Oh, it was Bash tweeted on the timeline. I think he quote tweeted the Adam Schefter tweet, and he said, let him get his TD and then, to keep the streak alive, and then pull him. And maybe that'd be okay. I'd probably be all right with that. But just any play, especially when you look at like how teams have been kind of dirty with them lately. I think it's 3 games in a row of face mask penalties, and that's going to twist your abductor when you get twisted by your neck.
That's right.
Goes all through your whole body, radially. So, I was just saying, if you think we need CMC now, think how much more we're going to need him in the playoffs. And he kind of needed a rest anyway. I don't know if you guys have been paying attention to touches, but CMC has 133 touches in 6 games. And
too much.
Do you know what our next best weapons touches are, Pedro?
Like in the 30s?
Yeah, Deebo Samuel at 38.
There we go.
So 95 touches less than CMC. And part of that's because Deebo was injured a little bit too, but then everybody else is below that as well. So, we've been overusing him. I think he needed a rest, and now he's got the injury. It seems like a great time to do it. The only thing that's not great, obviously, is having Deebo ruled out for at least the next 2 games, and then Trent Williams was doubtful, fully ruled out today. That does make it more difficult, but I just I would rather lose the battle to win the war is sort of what was my premise.
It's the soundest thinking, Ted. And I was watching the coach talk to Grant Cohn, and he made a very good point that we were all like, he just brought up some historical stuff that a lot of us were saying last year when we traded for CMC. He has an injury. When he was used that much in Carolina, he on the next couple of seasons he was injured all the time, and our premise was, well, he won't be used that much because Kyle will be artful. Kyle will use him in a way because he has all these other weapons. It's a loaded team, but he is not. He is using him again like he's the only weapon on our team. And so the wear and tear is starting to show. It's a long season. The Bills have a record of them 4-3. Look, they're going to be in the playoff picture. We're at 5-1. I know we don't want to drop games. The number 1 seed is important, but the long game has to be considered, right? And as you said, lose the battle to win the war. Let's be sound about this. Let's be a smart organization. Kyle, don't use him too much tonight. Just, it would almost be like, let him have a series, get him out. Let him have a series, get him out, and get Jordan Mason and Elijah Mitchell back in there. So, yeah, Donald Trump, yeah.
That's an idea.
Yeah.
Could CMC be a decoy tonight? Yeah, that's a great idea. Just the way
Debo. That's a smart play.
Just the way Debo was a decoy in the Cards game. The problem is we don't have as many weapons without Debo. When Debo is a decoy, we had CMC. Now you're trying to use CMC as a decoy when you don't have Debo. But yeah, we still have Kittle. We still have Ayuk. We still have Jennings. We still have Juszczyk. Mitchell should be getting back towards full speed. Mason. Ray. Ronnie Bell, hopefully.
Ronnie Bell, man. Ronnie Bell could be, yeah.
I'd love to see some more of him. Absolutely.
So would I. I love Ronnie.
Yeah. So hopefully we'll see more of him. We'll, CMC to score first, 4-1. I got scripted first drive, take a back seat, third down back. Interesting. Yeah. That wouldn't surprise me. And then hopefully that's it for him for the night. I mean, obviously you don't take him out of his pads or whatever, but you try to make that the end of his night. I don't know. We'll see. Can we afford the Eagles? Can we afford to be behind the Eagles for a race for number 1 seed?
That's a big question.
Well, the one thing we have going for us is that the Eagles have a really tough schedule. They play the Bills, they play the Cowboys a couple times. So even if we fall a little behind now, we could catch up by the playoffs. But it always sucks when you don't control your destiny. And right now, a loss would take us out of control of our destiny.
Yeah.
So I can see why that would be, and just the way CMC is. Kyle pretty much said that he's tried to limit CMC already this season. And he just is like, put me in. I want to play.
And he waves off people. He says, and Kyle has to take control. Who's the coach?
Yeah, no, I was saying that in my article was sort of forcing McCaffrey to rest won't be easy, but being an alpha coach was never supposed to be easy. Time for you to man up and stand up, Kyle. And stand up CMC. So, yeah, exactly. So, it's time for him to be the coach and not buddy, and not let this Cabo crew call the shots and run the team. It's great to have input. That's one thing, but he needs to be the final voice, and he needs to be able to put his foot down when time to time. He needs to protect Christian from himself.
That's right.
And I said that too as well. Kyle needs to protect McCaffrey from himself and from teams that have committed dangerous face mask penalties against him in the past 3 consecutive games. So those are some of my thoughts.
Can we, what I'd like, if it's okay with you, I wouldn't mind talking a little bit about Brock and then getting some key matchups. Oh, and did you hear sorry.
What's up, Beto? Sorry, this?
Pete answered Def TD in time is 8-1. Yep, okay, beautiful. And getting some key matchups. The thing, what?
Oh, he's talking about me, and I know he's got to be joking at this point because I've pretty much come around on Purdy. I even resisted, last week when Purdy struggled against the Browns. I was like, if you're waiting for me to jump on him for this, I'm not going to. I did drop him from 6-9 back to 8-12, where I had him after the Cards game, but I think that's fair, and I'm concerned about Purdy and wet weather. But in the article, I was saying basically, if the 49ers manage to win without their 3 best players on offense, the fringe benefit would be that Brock Purdy would finally be able to silence some of his critics who say he's just a system quarterback who can't succeed without the best group of weapons in football. And I've said similar things to that, but I'm not, a big detractor. I wonder, can he? And I'd like to see it. And I definitely think he'll bounce back tonight, being in the dome. and like someone was saying, I think it was Danielle, show Cousins that Purdy is Kyle's new favorite, right? So
yeah, and I think that one of the keys for Purdy to bounce back is the way that Kyle sets him up. And that is, I think he's got to do what he does with his favorite quarterbacks, and that is to get him comfortable, get him outside the pocket a little bit, run a couple little boots, and get him, a couple of, little tosses to the left and to the right, just to get him comfortable and get him into the game, get him into the rhythm of the game. If he starts, with some 5-step drops, 7-step drops, 9-step drops, it's just not going to do him any good. So he's just got to Kyle has to do the right thing. He knows the first scripted series is going to be obviously the best one for, one of the best drives that we can do for this game. So Kyle, just do the right thing by Brock and get him comfortable and get us down the field. And so that bodes well for Brock for the rest of the game. What do you think?
You mean you don't think that Kyle should call all pass plays for the first 3 drives like he did against the Raiders when Trey Lance was still with us, where I said he sabotaged him? Yeah, absolutely. You were a run first team. You got to run the ball. You got to run the ball to set up the run fake, and the run fake is very effective. Our drop back game is not particularly creative, and you're not going to fool anybody with it, especially without Debo and Trent Williams there. You're going to have less time and less weapons. So yeah, you use every advantage that you have. Play action would be a huge advantage, I think. So
just a quick update. Chris Conley's been elevated from the practice squad. The betting lines expect Christian McCaffrey to be close to full strength, and Dre Greenlaw is playing.
There you go. And I was just going to check to see what the spread is, -7. So it's gone up, I think, just a half a point.
Yeah, it was 6.5.
Yeah, I think that's the CMC bump. And I think if Trent Williams and Debo had been healthy, we'd probably see at least another point, even though typically it's only QBs that affect the line. I feel like Trent Williams is a big enough player that he would affect it, and I think Debo would too. But yeah, I'd like to see Mason get some touches, absolutely. But Kyle did say that if CMC didn't play, that Eli Mitchell would be the running back 1. I think he trusts his blocking and his route running a little bit better. Just knowing what to do on plays. And I do think that Elijah Mitchell will start to play better once he plays himself. I don't think that any of his injuries were serious enough to have long-term damage, like some people are saying. Like,
he just
we've
hasn't
had too many injuries. It's like a couple MCLs. It's like,
yeah,
I don't know. I shouldn't say it like that, but those will cause long-term damage, but not a year later. Like you'll be more prone for arthritis later in life, but in your prime, those shouldn't affect you beyond the 6 to 8 weeks that they keep you out, really. So, So I mean, great opportunity for Brock to silence some of the haters. And I mean, we are lucky that it's Justin Jefferson's out. And then additionally, he's not the only one out. Marcus Davenport is out for the Vikings as well, too. Who's a really good pass rusher and maybe even a better run stuffing edge. So that's good news for our run game. It is going to be tough to block Danielle Hunter.
Let's get into the matchups. Yeah, definitely.
He's a stud. We already have questions about McKivitz. Then you bring in Jalen Moore. They've been talking him up like, oh, he could be starter material. Like, okay, like I didn't see him in camp. I'll tell you that. When I was there for my 9 camp practices, the O-line was bad. The second string O-line from the centers on out. There was a lot of missed snaps. The guy we kept, I'm blanking on his name now, but the guard that we kept was bad. None of us could figure out why we didn't keep El Manning. Luckily, we got him back.
Yeah.
But Zakelj was terrible in camp, terrible in preseason games. So
I've written a couple of little notes down here. So yeah, so it's either going to be McKivitz or I think it's going to be McKivitz because he lines up on the left side. I think Daniil.
yeah,
He has 8 sacks already this season through 6 games.
yeah, he was leading the league coming into the weekend. So
there you go. So as you're
tied, for the league. There's
Yeah.
someone else at 8 too, but yeah.
And then just to go on a little bit from that, Bosa versus is it Christian
Darisaw, who's a hell of a left tackle. Yeah,
he's allowed no sacks.
Yeah.
And Bosa's only had 2.5. So I've got a few other ones down here, but if you want to talk about that little bit, so
yeah, anything you want, man. I'm all good. Just I want to really quickly just call out some more people.
Yeah.
Beto says if CMC says he can play, I say play his ass. There you go. Steven, don't bother me in the house. See you afternoon, fellas. Shaw Show, check out his channel, The Shaw Show. I think he redid it, and so everybody needs to resubscribe. And then also Fernando's Throwback in the house. He is super supportive of all the streamers. He helps market our shows and great audience member, just a great guy. So Fernando, thanks for all your help. Appreciate it. I just want to make also Alberto Soto in the house. Greenlaw going to Buffalo. No. Buffalo called though. The Bills called about because they lost Matt Milano. So they're trying to trade.
No way we're going to Buffy. No.
I mean, I think we, if anything, I think we extend him if we can.
Yeah,
it's going to be hard because next year is Ayuk's year, and we only do one big extension every year. So I don't know how that one works with Greenlaw, but there's no way we could trade him, especially after seeing our run defense against the Browns without him was just like a sieve. So
yeah, and the relationship that him and Fred Warner have is just one of the things that I think will keep him here. That's one of the variables that that you cannot count on from a money perspective. All right, I like this. The 49ers should not rest CMC.
He agrees with Beto.
He should play. It's any given week, and you should put your best players out there as long as they aren't hurt.
But he is hurt. That's the thing. Somebody asked James Durnall a little bit further up was what's good with CMC's. They said it was a small tear of his.
And obliques take a long time to heal.
Yeah, or a little bit of a tear. There was some small reference, but it's a tear, and it clearly could get worse or it could lead to something else. But I get it. I get that we want everything. NFL games are hard enough to win when you aren't missing not only your 3 best offensive players, but 3 of the best offensive players in the NFL. And so I could see the draw.
And no doubt he's going to be playing needled up, So I just think, as we discussed in the opening of this show, or the first 5 or 10 minutes, the sound thinking for me, and I think both for you, is that it's a long season. Let's win the war, not the battle. Let's rely on this quarterback that we have that we think is good, and we've got other weapons that can step in. Plus, let's think of it. Here's some other evidence in which I think we can stand by in regard to resting CMC. So BA versus Caleb Evans, right? He mightn't even be playing.
He's banged up.
He's banged up with an oblique. When he's targeted, he's allowing a 116 passer rating. So what's that? That's BA. BA's going to win that.
Yep.
And then you got Juwan Jennings versus Josh Metellus. I'll give you a guess of what sort of passer rating he's giving. It's up at 129.
Yeah, I was going to say 130.
There's another battle.
Yeah.
And then Jordan Addison is the rookie receiver. So he's got the tight end Harkinson.
Yeah.
But when targeted, Ward is only allowing 64.3 in passer rating, And when he's being targeted by Cousins, Jordan Addison has got a 116.9. So he has seen some success with Cousins, but if you look up against Ward, it's just going to be a shutdown. So anyway, that's my there's sort of three things there with BA versus Caleb Evans, JJ and Josh Metellus, and Ward versus Jordan Addison. There's three key stats. I know stats don't tell all the story, Ted, but you can see there from past games and ability versus ability, we have definitely the upper hand, which again, to me, speaks to the fact that CMC could be rested.
Yeah. Giants Niner fan agrees, says he shouldn't play. If we can't beat Minnesota without him and Debo, they got bigger issues.
Well, that's right. If
the injury gets aggravated, then Kyle is going to get roasted. Seems like the room's pretty evenly split, though.
Yeah.
We've got some people who like us who feel like it's a mistake, and others who are like, absolutely, if he's ready, just go ahead and play him. And clearly CMC wants to play. And so, but again, there's that point of like, well, shouldn't the coach be the coach and have the final say? But I guess Kyle wants to be popular. So
what is that? What is this? What's Pity's baseball or football? What's that mean?
I'm not sure.
I think what he's saying, Rick, is this game's going to be. I think our defense obviously is going to go a big way to win this game. It's going to be one of the line of scrimmage. Protection has to be good and he's right. I think the protection issue for Brock is going to be tough in regard to with Danielle Hunter.
Well, they blitz more than any other team in the NFL.
Exactly. So
and Debo's a great outlet against the blitz, and so CMC. So again, probably more impetus to play CMC, I guess.
Yeah. And James is asking the right question.
Yeah.
With his TD record, so look, that's a good milestone to have, but is it worth risking an opportunity to get to the Super Bowl?
No, individual records are it's like the cherry on top, but it's not the cake, it's not the icing, it's not the big things that you care about. So Rick's saying the 49ers are a great team. Everybody knows we get the rhythm, they explode. Yeah, absolutely. John Lynch and the Vikings GM Kwesi Adofo-Mensah walking the field together for nearly 20 minutes. Yeah, I mean, if we blow them out, there's a chance we might be able to get Danielle Hunter or who else do they have? I don't know. Maybe I think they have a pretty good nickel corner too. I don't know. But I think Danielle Hunter is the only one we really have our eye on there.
And that's what you're referring to with this comment?
I mean, you always wonder what they're
talking well, that's about. Right. They're having a good old chat.
But I would imagine that came up.
That's a very interesting name, Kwesi Adofo-Mensah. What is it? Where is he from?
Not certain.
So what are our keys to victory tonight, Ted? How are we going to
Well, D up. D needs to get back to their old self with Dre back. They need to give Isaiah Oliver help in the nickel, safety over the top to help that, and shut down Madison and make Kirk Cousins one-dimensional, and then blanket those receivers like we were talking about.
Yeah, and I think getting Brock comfortable is the most important thing. I think as we've said, Brock's gonna bounce back tonight, and he'll show the national audience why he has been, one of the best quarterbacks in the league. What was that other one?
Oh, this one.
But on the real, we need to get better in defense. I want to hear what's the next one.
Dolphins defense is not exactly stout. They're missing Xavier Howard was out, and Ramsey still hasn't played yet this season. So we weren't really seeing the best version of the Dolphins defense. Our corners are much better than what's his name? Well, one of them is Eli Apple, who's kind of bouncing all over the place. He's decent, but he's not real good, or else people would hold on to him. And the other guy's name is Cater Kohu, because that's when the Dolphins played the Bills. I was like, Kohu, because Diggs just made him look like a nobody. Looked like he wasn't even there. Stephon Diggs was roping him, just destroying him. And same thing with AJ Brown and Devontae Smith last night. So Alberto, I wouldn't panic I'm not saying we don't need a corner. I'm not saying that. I think we do need a nickel, but don't judge the Dolphins defense, our defense, based on the Dolphins defense. Yeah, they don't have the linebackers that we have. They don't have the pass rush that we have. And then I don't think they have the secondary that we have. Holland's real good, but he hit his head. He sent the Baker guy out of the game with a concussion. They ran into each other. Beto doubling down on.
Come on, man! I want to hear. Can we go back to Beto? I want to hear some pro. I want to hear your argument. Okay, so if you can go, let him. Okay, is there anything else? Like, give me some qualifiers. Like, so Ted and I have said. Win the war, not the battle. Risk versus reward. What the risk for me, and I can say for me is that
you can.
An injured player, he's going to be needled up. He's a very important person for our offense. It is seen that Kyle has not integrated him into the offense in a way that has, his usage, as you said, 139, whatever. It was crazy, crazy amount of usage. And when he did that in Carolina, he got injured the next couple of years. So give me something.
Yeah, I think it's just to win the game and stay even with the Eagles. I think that's really what it comes down to. Nobody wants to go play in the Link again after what happened there last year. And I'll say also what happened to Nick Mullins in Dallas, who's the only other QB to have that UCL plus repair plus internal brace surgery that Purdy had. They had just similar plays. Guy got beat. They when a blocker gets beat on the edge, they yell a word like fire or something like that, so the QB knows the guy's coming. And maybe they didn't hear that code word with the hostile crowd noise. So I think it's just and it's not just. Of course, we want to play at Levi's for the NFC Championship game. Of course, you have a much higher chance of playing for the championship game if you start out with a bye instead of a wild card game. So those are two big reasons why people are real keen on getting the number one seed. And like I said, we can correct one loss by going head to head against the Eagles. But if we get down by 2, then we're relying on someone else to do our dirty work for us.
The another audience member said, if we cannot beat the Vikings without
Debo and CMC,
then we've got other issues. So let's look at it from that perspective, Ted. Right? So there's this. I think there's too many factors in the cons column for me.
There you go. I just feel like it's a simple statement, but those guys are huge difference makers, not just for us, but like I said, in the NFL. And it's like you could lose one, but then you need the other. And so to lose both, it's pretty painful. Randy Daytona in the house saying the top blitzing team versus an O-line missing their best blocker. It's definitely a big concern. I do not trust Jalen Moore at all. Not one little bit. Run defense and O-line protection. All right. Yeah, there you go. That would be awesome. In-game trade. Hunter plays for the Vikings in second half for the Niners. I don't think that's in the rules, Giants Niner fan, but that would be pretty cool, especially if we needed him. And we ended up getting the win because Danielle Hunter switched up in the locker room.
We need a miracle, Randy. A miracle? I don't think we need a miracle, mate.
I thought Vic Fangio will help the Dolphins defense. Yeah, he has, but you got to have your horses. And when you're missing, Xavier Howard has led the league in interceptions for the last several years, and obviously Jalen Ramsey, like I said, hasn't even suited up this season. That's big. That's tough to overcome. So we'll see. We'll see what happens. I think there are other pass rushers coming back from an injury too. Is it not Chubb, but not Rousseau? He's a Bill. But there was some, I think, ex-Miami or ex-Florida defensive end who just was starting to play last night and probably is not up to speed yet. Philly had 0 penalties. How is it even possible?
Yeah, that's crazy. It was 8 penalties to 0 or something.
Well, now you say penalties, then of course I have to bring up the Cleveland Browns.
Yeah.
Getting the benefit of the doubt versus the Colts. And while I'm tooting my horn
again, that was not pass interference.
There you go. And I don't know if it happened in time for our show, but I went at it with the Cleveland Brown fans last week, where there was the stat came out that they're through 5 games they'd only given up 1,002 yards, their defense, and I said, I don't think they're historic. I think they're a really maybe great defense, but not historic. I think they're overrated. I think they're great and overrated, which is kind of weird to say. But I meant great for 2023, but overrated historically because the Bengals were 32nd. The teams, the offense they faced, the Bengals were 32nd in yards gained through those 6 games because the Browns did have a bye. The Steelers, who we saw, super anemic offense, 30th in the league in yards gained, and the Titans 26th. Then of course the Ravens 11th. Their defense or their offense is pretty good, but the Ravens beat the Browns. And then ours, we were missing, like I said, 3 of the best offensive players in the game, plus penalties, plus, I think Brock doesn't play well in the rain. So these Cleveland fans came for me. And then people are like so dumb. They're like, oh, Ted, you got ratioed. I'm like, just because people say the same wrong thing over and over doesn't mean it just means they're dumb, And sure enough, they give up 456 freaking yards to the Colts. I'm like, maybe they're not so historic anymore now that they gave up more than half of those record yards in one flipping game, So, yeah, anyway, I felt kind of vindicated on that. But, yeah, I mean, the refs really jammed the Colts. It's a real shame. And after they jammed us. I guess the NFL really likes the Browns for some reason.
For some reason? What's up with that?
I don't know.
Is it because they're in Cleveland?
I saw Annie Agar was saying something, the NFL refs there needs to be an investigation into the NFL refs. I was like, yeah, absolutely.
Can I just say, I love Annie Agar.
She's great. She's smart.
And then there's this other content creator, this a lovely blonde lady that seems to be getting around.
Oh, yeah. She's taken off with the Niners. Ashley.
Yeah.
Ashley Ariona or Ariana. Yeah. I don't know how to pronounce her last name, so I don't want to butcher it, but it's got an interesting spelling. But it looks like Ariona, something like that. Yeah, she's doing great. She did a lot of work in spaces, and I always liked what she had to say. I didn't always agree with her, but I felt like she was good at what she did, and she's blown up like crazy. Shooting star. Good. She shot right past me in like 2 weeks. That's crazy.
Who's the highest? He's the highest paid running back. Who's that? Oh, right. Okay.
Christian McCaffrey.
So he's saying if he's the highest paid running back, he should earn his money.
No,
he's the highest. He's the highest paid running back for a reason because he's so damn good.
Yeah.
You don't risk your best merchandise.
There you go. Yeah. See, this is what we were saying, Stephen. Yeah. Let Brock Purdy show that he can do it without him. It's good for everybody. It's good for CMC to rest, good for Purdy to silence the haters. Even people think I'm one, I'm not. But hey, like I said, I just hate the hyperbole. And I think after the Browns game, you can see what I mean. That, comparing him to, Montana, Mahomes, Josh Allen, Brady. Come on, guys, slow your roll. He's a good kid, but, there's a reason why a lot of teams passed on him, and he just doesn't have the physical gifts, and that's okay. For a couple 2.3 games there, it didn't seem like it was going to matter, and I think as long as things are dry, it won't. But I definitely have some current concerns about wet weather. I know. All right. Shoot, the chat's popping, but we had agreed to limit.
Oh, that's all right. Let's go for another 5 minutes. Let's get these chats popped.
All right. Yeah. Let's get through them real quick here. CMC has a nice little streak going. He's capable of running the ball 3 yards for a TD. Yeah, it's just Kyle doesn't know how to only use him for that, though. That's the thing, Randy.
Yeah.
If he's available, Kyle's just going to run him, catch him, target, whatever it is. But he'll be involved. I don't know that Kyle knows how to do it on a limited basis. We just really haven't seen much of that. Jake Delhomme did, Bryant, but it wasn't the same. It was the full Tommy John replacement reconstruction, not a repair plus internal brace. Only Nick Mullins and Purdy are the only 2 NFL QBs who have had that one. There you go. Let him play. Beto's steadfast. We haven't changed his mind. Not yet. We'll see. Maybe he'll come around. Let's stop being Google doctors. Well, Beto, I have an orthopedic surgeon in my family. So I know a little more about this kind of stuff than the average bear. But yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not a doctor. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night. Randy's a Google minister. I love it. Tony Culp in the house. Oh, welcome, Tony.
Tony.
I was saying earlier, everybody make sure to check out your Ladies of the Round Table Saturdays, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern. Great stuff. Alberto, look, I don't like how they're saying Debo is not playing up to what he got paid. Say the same for CMC. Well, for starters, Alberto, CMC is making about half of what Debo's making. I think Debo's making 22, 23 mil a year. I guess McCaffrey's deal is 16, but we're paying him like 10 or 12. I think it was basically nothing last year or not much. And then I think it's like a 12 mil cap hit every year till the end. But even if you say 16, it's only 2/3 of what Debo is making. So it is not exactly apples to apples. I would just say that. And Debo has not lived up to his deal. Not even close.
Neither has Nick Bosa.
And Debo's been doing a lot of talking and a lot of,
Oh my God.
And starting that stuff before the game. Yeah, Debo needs to start playing and zip it and rip it,
Yeah.
I think that'd be ideal. We need gloves for Brock. Yeah, I think I'd like to see Brock try a glove or stick them or anything like that. Nancy Cameron in the house saying hello, and Tedro, stay home. Love it.
What's up, Nancy?
Nick isn't playing up to his paycheck.
I agree, Randy. 2.5 sacks, and Danielle Hunter's got 8.
But Nick does have a lot of double and triple teams, and he does have a lot of pressures, and so yeah, he hasn't got a lot of sacks. But I mean, he's PFF has him rated still as one of the top DNs. So, and not that I do always say PFF is trash, but unless it supports my narrative, then of course.
Yeah, of course. At least you're honest.
You know how it is. I usually say it's not trash, but not great is sort of the way I usually put it. But a lot of people do say PFF is trash. Unfortunately, in football, you pay for last year's production. That's very true. Refs love the Browns. Refs love the Kansas City Swifts. They have for a long time. I mean, Mahomes is getting the Brady calls now, I've been saying.
Oh, wow.
Now's the time to test the depth.
Yes, Tony. Yes.
Yep. Get Ronnie Bell in there.
Yes. It's like it just makes sense. It's like and I'm no expert. I'm an Australian. But it's just sound thinking. Thank you, Tony. I like it.
Yeah, no, that's when they hurt the most. When I was arguing with the Browns fans, they were saying, well, we got some calls against us that weren't right. And I'm like, yeah, in the first half, yours came on the second to last drive of the game when you guys took the lead. I mean, to go ahead. So, I mean, it's a big difference when you don't have any time to make up for it. And, Purdy almost did make up for it. He drove us down the field, and Moody missed it, unfortunately. But I'm not too worried about Moody. He made every kick before that. And that swirling wind, I do think is difficult. It's notorious in Cleveland. So keep that in mind.
Moody be fine. He'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh, man. I don't think so, Beto. I don't think that's going to help. Oh, boy.
Well.
We got walking around town, 661 in the house. What's up around town? welcome. So what's up? And I think we're pretty much caught up here.
All right, cool, man.
Yeah,
Well,
I know you got to go, and let's just say real quick. I know this isn't about the Niners, but I'm shocked the Patriots beat. Yeah, that was a shocking
yes, so am I.
outcome for sure. Nobody, I don't think, had that on their bingo card. Troy Nolan in the house said once players get that bag, they seem to drop off. It happens, yeah.
I agree.
It happens. I don't think Devo's that kind of guy, but he needs to prove that he's not now at this point. It's starting to look that way.
Yeah.
We got Twin Empire in the house too. Welcome, Twin. But yeah, we are short on time here, folks. So I'll just say thanks everybody who tuned in. Make sure you pop over to Niners DNA. Give Pedro a like and subscribe. Same thing if you're on his channel. Pop over to me. Hit the like and subscribe buttons. And we'll see you next week at 3 p.m. Pacific, 6 p.m. Eastern for the I Voted.
We will. I just want to give a shout out to your sponsor, TTG, real quick.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. The Travelstead Group. I totally spaced on it. They do retail and hospitality logistics. So transportation and warehousing for brick and mortar, fixed furniture and equipment. That's FFE. They do OSC, which is operating supplies and equipment, new store rollouts, new store openings, relocations, decommissions from the first mile to the final mile and everywhere in between. Travelstead has you covered. Let us know how we can help you via air, ocean, and land. Closed loop solutions for retail and hospitality. Nick and Henry are the great guys that I work with over there, and all their support is US based. Check out the website. It's in the description for the show, my YouTube about page, my Twitter bio, also on Insta and Facebook if you follow me there. So check them out. Check out the video. It's great stuff if you're in the retail or hospitality space and need to get things done.
Thank you, TTG. Much appreciated. All right, Ted.
Thanks for the reminder, Pedro. I appreciate it. Got to pay those bills, man.
Got to pay the bills, man.
Cheers. Have a great day, and go Niners.
Go Niners.